If you're like most parents we see, you probably tried everything from behavior modification to occupational therapy, dietary changes to calming techniques, yet your child's struggles continue. We see countless families who are exhausted from dealing with their child's constant tantrums, sensory meltdowns, and behavioral challenges that seem to come out of nowhere. And even when their child could only wear certain clothes, had extreme reactions to everyday sounds or struggle with anxiety that makes simple activities feel impossible. It wasn't their fault, it's much deeper than that, acting out. And here's a statistic that might shock you. 1 in 6 children in the United States have a diagnosed developmental disability. Up to 40% of children now suffer from at least one chronic illness. Most doctors are missing the real root cause behind these struggles. What if your child's behavioral challenges, sensory issues, and health problems aren't separate issues at all, but signs of one underlying problem that can finally be addressed? This video is for exhausted parents whose children struggle with behavioral challenges, sensory processing issues, anxiety, or chronic health problems, and are ready to understand the real neurological root causes that most doctors never address. We're diving deep into how nervous system dysregulation is the hidden thread connecting most childhood challenges. And you'll discover why traditional approaches often fall short and how addressing this foundational imbalance can transform your child's health, behavior, and ability to thrive naturally. So let me tell you about our friend Tierney, whose story might sound heartbreakingly familiar. Before finding neurologically focused chiropractic care, Tierney had extreme sensory processing challenges, where she could only wear a couple of really loose dresses that didn't rub against her skin. Seams, fabrics, eyeglasses, and even shoes were so overwhelming to her that it turned into big meltdowns and severe anxiety. Tierney's nervous system was so stressed that her senses weren't communicating well with her brain, and it's like having volume control where the volume of your senses is way too high. She felt clothing sensations at such an intense level that it sent her body into fight or flight mode. But it wasn't just one instance that caused this, it was a buildup of stress over time that we call the perfect storm. Today, after specific chiropractic care that calmed and coordinated her nervous system, Tierney has a whole new wardrobe, and at 10 years old, we have celebrated her wearing her very first pair of jeans. As Tierney says, she loves chiropractic care because it fixes the problem. So now that you know this amazing story, let's go deeper into understanding what's really going on. So 1. Nervous system dysregulation. Your child's tantrums, sensory meltdowns, and behavioral challenges aren't character flaws or bad behavior. They're actually brilliant attempts by their nervous system to communicate that something is wrong. And 7% of children aged 3 to 17 have been diagnosed with anxiety, 9% with ADHD, and 7% with behavioral problems, but the common thread is nervous system dysregulation, where the autonomic nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight mode instead of smoothly transitioning between stress and calm states. When your child's nervous system is dysregulated, it affects everything from their ability to process sensory input to their emotional regulation, digestion, sleep, and immune function. So 2, the perfect storm that creates dysregulation in children. So this dysregulation doesn't happen overnight. It's typically the result of what we call the perfect storm of stressors that accumulate starting as early as pregnancy. The first piece is prenatal stress, where maternal stress hormones like cortisol cross the placental barrier and can alter the programming of your baby's developing nervous system. Birth trauma for interventions like C-sections, forceps, vacuum delivery, or prolonged labor can create physical stress and misalignments in the upper neck and brainstem area, interfering with critical brain-body communication pathways. And early childhood stresses like inadequate sleep, processed foods, environmental toxins, or even ordinary stresses can pile up in children with sensitive nervous systems, making it harder for them to find their footing. 3. Why the gut-brain connection matters more than you think. You may have tried dietary changes or probiotics for your child, but if you're still struggling, there is likely a missing piece. the nervous system's foundational role in regulating digestion. The vagus nerve serves as the superhighway between your child's brain and digestive tract, controlling stomach, acid production, muscle contractions that move food along, and the release of digestive enzymes. When the nervous system is stuck in fight or flight mode, it puts the brakes on all those crucial rest, regulate, digest functions, which explains why gut-focused interventions often feel like you're filling a leaky bucket. 4. How we identify and address the real root cause. At Vanella Chiropractic, we use advanced insight scanning technology to objectively measure a child's nervous system function and identify specific areas of stress, tension, and dysregulation. And these non-invasive scans include surface EMG to measure neuromuscular tension, thermography to assess autonomic nervous system function, and heart rate variability to evaluate nervous system balance and resilience. And through gentle, specific, neurologically focused chiropractic adjustments, we help restore optimal brain-body communication, allowing your child's nervous system to shift from dysregulation back to natural regulation and resilience. So click the link in our bio to learn more about nervous system regulation.